What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Xperience podcast. We're here with our guest, Mr. Steve Daniels.
Welcome, brother.
He has an amazing track record of stuff. We're going to talk about his studio business, his blog, his podcast, his all types of things. Also, content creation, amazing content creation. Some of the best content I've seen is your story time with Steve. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
And also your networking, the collabs that you have with brands, some of the biggest brands, being an amazing influencer. So it's going to be awesome.
I'm dope, man. Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.
Anytime. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we go way back, man. So it was only right that we had you on over here.
No, but we go like, you said that before the podcast, like you were 18, bro. What the fuck?
I was 18. Now I'm
How'd you
24.
guys met? I have to know. Now that we're
All I
filming.
remember from us meeting is an event at WeWork.
Nice.
And I see those two youngins dressed in a suit. And I'm just like, yo, these guys are serious, man.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually a conference, right? I was talking.
It was a conference. So it was a conference. It was our first conference, I believe, ever that we went. And it was like back in the day, John and I were always just thinking, like, how could we meet people to kind of get business? How can we go out there? What could we do? So one of the things John was like, dude, at WeWork, like, I believe it was like every like Tuesday or Thursday, they were like, you can kind of host an event or there was someone hosting it. So it just came to be that was like our first one. And then you were actually like,
I was on panel on that one?
you were on the panel that night. And John and I, we didn't really know the vibes of it. So like we just dressed up a suit. You like, you can never go wrong.
No,
with
this
a
guy
suit.
came in a full suit. I was like, yo, what's wrong with these guys?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, imagine like 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, I know.
Let me say kid, you know. Everybody here was dressed casually, and the youngest were dressed in a suit.
Yeah. And it was nice suits, too. I remember you guys.
These guys were rocking nice suits, man.
Yeah. Plus, like at the time, I probably looked like I was like 15.
Yeah.
I still look young. You know what I mean?
But wasn't that the day? It was, I think, we're talking about influencer. It was me and a girl on the panel. Is that possible?
I believe so. Funny enough, I believe he was actually talking about how important it is to build your personal brand.
Yeah, so I remember that panel.
Yeah.
It was exactly the same day that Tony Robbins came to Montreal.
Wow.
Because I went to his event, and right away I rushed in for that panel conversation. And the other girl that was there too she was a solid influencer too. It was Mariella.
I think so.
Katz. I remember that day.
Yeah, that rings a bell. And I remember looking, it was like we had seen Steve give like this whole presentation. We're like, yo, we got to meet this guy. So we were all shy, to be completely honest with you. Like, what do we even say to this guy? You know what I mean? And we're just rushed to the elevator, like, yo, you're like, yo. And then we ended up like just connecting and.
Yeah, look at us 6 years later, still chilling, man. And there's a lot of people that were very close to me back then. I don't even talk anymore. But you, anytime, you reach out to me anytime, bro. And I see your content. It's pretty dope.
I appreciate it, bro. I'm learning, honestly, since you've been saying. I'm actually curious to know because you've been in the content game for like a long time. Longer than it's been, popularized. You know what I mean? Like now it's like everyone's like content. But you are by far one of like, there's only a few like people that I know that actually were like saw the vision in that a long time ago. How did you really get into it? Like what made you, kind of starting to, was it the food blogs? What was it?
For me, funny enough, I was not a content creator when I started. So back in the days, I did the route that any parents would love you to do. I went to school, university diploma, bought a house, bought a car, I had a career. I was working in West Town. I'm not going to shout out the job, Future Electronics, whatever. So I worked there and I was like, I was like 25, 26. And I realized like, this is the rest of my life. Just coming to work and just do my job and come home. Like the next steps was basically like getting married and having kids. And I was like, you know what? That's not for me. I feel like I need to live more. So at the time I started a page called MTL Promos, and MTL Promos was just like promoting Montreal. So I started with that, getting invited to events, but I was not a content creator. So I would invite bloggers to come along with me, photographers and videographers. I would offer them free food to a lot of restaurants every weekend, and eventually I would pay them. And then I realized like, I'm giving them a lot of money for things that I could do. So I bought a camera and I started working like a small camera. You don't even have that small camera. It was like a small G7X, like a vlog camera.
Yeah, I know those ones. Though.
Right?
Yeah.
But I will like actually book myself some photography contract with that small ass camera. And I was not good at all. But the clients loved me because, I would show up, And then met my friend Pavel. Pavel is my friend with who I own the studio, Archetype. And he showed me more about the work and how to be better at that job. And then I bought a better camera. And from there, I started doing more photos, more videos. And I focused towards food because I love food. And then I realized like, oh shit, there's a lot of money in the food industry. So I just focused on that and it's working.
Nice. And do you actually enjoy like making the content?
Oh yeah, when it comes to food, for sure. Like I have so many ideas of food content in my mind. Even till today, if you look at my TikTok or my Instagram, I'm still creating a lot of content around food just because I love discovering food. Like one of my dreams is actually to travel for food. But
Nice.
there's content sometimes I don't really enjoy doing it. Like sometimes I have to do like photo shoot for some type of people. I do it for the money sometimes. It's not my favorite, but it's creating content, right? But I could say that 90% of the time I love what I do.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. And when you got into like content creation initially, did you know like you were going to enjoy making content, or was it just like you saw like a good match and you just figured it out?
That's a good question because I didn't know in what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Think about it. 6 years ago, you don't even know really what's an influencer.
clue.
You don't really know how much you can get paid by content creation. All you know is like, you think about it as marketing.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get myself into marketing because this is marketing. But I never thought it would be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get paid to do content creation itself. It was just
Interesting.
for me a tool to do better marketing for my clients. So years after years, I realized like, you know what? I love doing marketing, but I love doing more content creation. And that's when I realized like, yo, I think I can focus more on getting content creation. And that's more contract came in where, hey, Steve, we need you to do content creation, but no marketing. And those are for me my best contracts. So for sure, like I didn't expect that, but now I realize like, yo, this is more for me. Like being able to go somewhere, make a mood board, take some photos, videos, edit, give it away, and that's it. I'm done. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. And for the people that are listening, they don't know how serious some of the brands that you've worked with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the way, go check out all the stuff. It's I am Steve Daniels. Or is it
Yeah, I'm
just
Steve Daniel on all social media platforms.
Yeah.
Or stevedaniel.ca for sure. Yeah.
100%. Go check them out. But one of the things I want to know is like, what with all the projects that you've done, you know, I know you've been, you know, drive up to Toronto with a car. You've been flown down. What are some of like the top moments you've been like, yeah, you know what? This is what I love what I do.
Oh,
like some of the
shit, that's a
top
good
best
question.
projects you've worked
We were
on.
talking about it before. For sure, the Raptors.
That looked nuts.
And what did you have to do for that, man? Just
No, but
explain
you
a
don't
little bit.
understand. That deal was crazy. Like to give you I don't want to say how much they paid me because I got paid to go there. But
Yeah.
basically it was, at the beginning of the year, MasterCard was like, okay, Steve, we want to do a campaign with you for the year. We need 3 posts. What are your ideas? And now I'm like, yo, I want to talk about food. And I love the Raptors. So then they call me like, okay, Steve, for the 3rd campaign, we got you the Raptors tickets. She calls me, she give me the tickets. I'll be honest with you. I went to see 15 NBA games in my life around like America. When she started giving me the letters of the Raptors, I was like, what is CRTN, man? Or was it CRTN? Was something, or maybe CTRN, whatever. And I look up, it was like courtside. I was like, oh shit, you give me courtside tickets.
Were you with Drake?
I was maybe sitting here and Drake was probably like 15 feet away. But I was on the same side as Drake, so I cannot see him.
Yeah.
But I know he was right there, it's just the angle. But that day it was like, yo, I got paid to go watch the Raptors, make a reel about it. But I made enough money to pay for my flight. I bought the Raptors jackets. I actually bought 3 pair of tickets for my friends in Toronto to just come to the
Nice.
game.
Wow.
And I was still making profits.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was like,
And how did you get that deal with MasterCard?
yo, they just reach out to me, man.
Just randomly
And
reach out.
that's the craziest thing about what I do now is 100%, I could say 100% actually. 100% of the deal came to me. And that's actually one thing that scares me because you cannot be an influencer hot forever. So one of my goals this year was actually to start reaching out to company and be like, yo, look, this is what I've been doing. But honestly, I don't even know how to reach out to company. But I know for a fact, if they come to me, I know how to close the deal and make more money out of it. So MasterCard, they actually reach out to me. They're like, hey, Steve, we're looking to work with an influencer from Montreal. We love what you do. We want 3 posts. Oh, shit, yo, let's go. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny though. It seems like your work like just spoke for itself.
Yeah.
Like you put in the work after so many years and it's paying off and you're getting these crazy brands reaching out to you, which is nuts.
And the craziest thing is I don't have the most followers, but if you look at like my portfolio of brands I've worked with, I feel like in Montreal, I'm the one that I've worked with the best brands.
For sure.
Which is crazy.
For sure.
And I don't have that much. I have like 10,000, which is good. My TikTok has more, but my Instagram itself, I feel like I could sell it to someone because this account generates money, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And do you think it's like a big benefit for these brands that you speak both bilingual French and English?
For sure. I mean, first thing first is when it comes to the negotiations. I feel like it makes it easier for them to negotiate with someone in English, telling them they're going to create in French.
Okay.
Think about Montreal. Like, we know people in Montreal. A lot of them speak French and their English sucks. So imagine if you're from Toronto and you're like, you want to deal with a French influencer.
That's super true,
but that influencer, you guys don't even understand each other, right? That's the first thing. The other thing, too, is I had to deal with FIDO this year. Last year, actually, for Black History Month. So it was exactly a year ago. And they wanted me to talk in stories in French. So I did the stories. Easy money, bro. And then they messaged me. They're like, hey, Steve, the English person actually ghosting us. He doesn't answer. Could you do the English one? Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm like, can I just say the same thing? They're like, yeah, same thing in English. So I got double the bag just because I was fully bilingual, you know? So it makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you, because I see you do a lot of your content in French.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, do you find that makes it a bit more challenging for you to scale? I mean, now I see like the pros of doing that, where these massive brands, they can work with somebody who's bilingual. It's easy for them to approach you and for you guys to communicate and stuff. So that's amazing. But on the flip side, do you find it's harder for your content to go viral?
Funny enough, I do feel like at first I was creating so much content in English, even when we met.
Yep.
I could say I've been doing this for 6 years. For 5 years, I've been doing content in English. And the 1 year I've been doing it in French, that's where everything took off.
Oh, wow.
For real.
Interesting.
Like story times in French.
Yeah, exactly.
Story time got me like double my amount of followers within 2 months.
Nice.
Crazy.
TikTok, like 3 million views in a month. Everything's in French. So I do realize we're in Quebec. So I have no choice to do it in French.
Yeah.
But my goal will be to make more content in English. I love English. It's easier for me sometimes to create content because in French, there's so many rules that you have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, French has been good, man. So that's why most of my content now is in French. And even when I think about creating content, I think about creating in English all the time. But since I've been doing that flip to French, that switch to French, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
I feel like you speak French, right?
Yeah, but not great. That's why. So
You grew up in the West Island?
You're speaking to my soul here. I need to learn. Yeah, I grew up
but the
in
West Island's more English.
That's why. I grew up in the West Side. We all grew up in the West Side. West Side is so French, but when you create French content, West Side is so English, sorry.
Yeah.
West Side is super English. But when you create content in French, I feel like people in Montreal, they look at it like, oh, he's one of us.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we have that feeling in Montreal, like, oh, he's French, he's one of us, you know?
Yeah. And do you find that there's like, again, you know, like, I don't know, maybe it's just the algorithm, but you feel maybe that there's less competition out there as well, French influencers.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like, you see everywhere that I go, I can be biased because, you know, obviously, like, everything I watch is in English.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even name you, like, one big, like, like someone who kind of does, like, you know what everyone's doing nowadays, you know, with the businesses and the this and that and the millions of
There's
followers.
none.
In French, like, I'm trying to think to myself, like, bilingual, there's none, you know? So that's definitely I never thought of it like that in regards to you bring a whole...
Like even you, the content you're making in English is amazing, but now you're competing with so many people. Right. I feel like you should just try to do it in French. Just try.
That's a good idea.
Give it a shot. Make another account like Nick Buffoni FR. I don't know what it is, but
I feel like it would probably go like viral if I did it in French.
But you should probably do like one French, like 4 English. Like start
or no, or just make it on another account.
Yeah, you think separate?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why on another account?
The algorithm, man.
Yeah.
The algorithm is placing you in English.
Okay.
That's a good point.
And if the French people see like you creating like 4 content out of 5 in English, they'll be like, yo, fuck this guy.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Real, huh?
Yeah. I would give it a try. Even you, just give it a try.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose, especially if it's another account.
Right.
Yeah.
And now with all of this content that you're doing, you know, like you have a lot going on, which I love, man.
Much,
you're a busy man.
Fuck,
you know,
man.
Do you kind of feel like you just want to work a little bit more just on the food? Like, do you have like this year, you know, I want to hone down on my craft, you know, or like, is it kind of like now you're like, okay, I built this portfolio. I'm super happy. Like, you can pretty much pitch anyone, bro. And they'll like, I'm not worried about you getting, you can say like, hey, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Now are you at a point in your life where you're like, you know what, I'll kind of see with the flow with what's going to come my way? Or you're like, you know what, I enjoy doing food content. So let me reach out to some bigger brands, or let me see what I could do to kind of, you know, hone down on my craft a little bit on that. Is that kind of the, like, tell me a little.
For me, there are 3 things I could say that's my goal for this year more. First thing is to actually build a solid team. Like I told you in the beginning of the podcast, right? My goal is to do less marketing, but I'm still getting those deals. So I have 2 employees.
Nice.
One of them is taking care of like all the social media day-to-day posting. So I build a strategy, I create a content, I give it the rest. Just post, make sure to answer the DMs because I don't like to do that. And I have another guy in the team now, he just started 2 weeks ago. I told him to reach out to countries because when you're a foodie, countries will pay you to come to their country and try the food. But I don't have time to reach out to them. So
who do you reach out to for that shit? Like,
Yo,
I don't know.
like,
I'm gonna start reaching out.
yeah.
Free vacations.
It's like a office de tourisme. Every country have that. Every city actually have that too.
Nice.
Like every big city have somebody, like they have an office where their goal is to promote the food or the culture, and they'll pay influencers to come and just do it. At the time, I used to have a deal like that with Mexico. So I told the guy, yo, look, I went on ChatGPT, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know ChatGPT?
Of course,
Oh, yeah,
of
for
course.
sure.
I got a list of 100 countries on their website.
Nice.
I'm like, yo, bro, that's only your job. Reach out to their countries, go on their website, see what they want to put forward, and just ask them, you have my portfolio, tell them I want to work with them. So that's one. Second thing is I want to put out 4 food shows on TikTok, probably.
Nice.
I have my first one that's already out there on TikTok where it's with my girlfriend.
Yep.
I take a globe, I spin the globe, and I go to that country. Country food. Because in Montreal, we had a lot of food, right? And this thing, first video came out, did like 140,000 views on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
Which for me is amazing.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Dude,
that's
that's
fantastic.
insane.
So my goal with the food shows is I'm going to do the next food show when the first one reach 1 million views in total. So at the end of the year, hopefully I can say, hey, look, this year I did 4 food shows and the 4 of them reach 1 million views in terms of like total views for the show. And the last thing for my craft is I give myself an amount of money I want to make as a photographer. Because for the longest time I was making videos, content for others. But I said this year I put a number. I just want to make that number as a photographer just to say like, oh, look, I'm able to say like I'm a photographer. That's how much money I made.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super nice.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the goals. But for you, I do feel like I think for you this year, your goal was to make more content because for so long we were behind the computer, behind the camera. I open my Instagram and I'm like, oh shit, Nick is talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's killing it with the content this
Yo,
year.
it's good though.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it, man. You know what? Every single person, like I've always been preaching to my clients. I said, listen, you got to be building content. And then like, honestly, then it just came one day. I'm like, how can I even preach that if I'm not doing it? So I made a big effort. I said, in 2023, well, we've been working on this podcast for a long time. Like there's been some hiccups and this and that. We're finally out here, creating the
That's
content.
good,
But
man.
this was the main
Nice
thing.
setup, by the way.
I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
thank you.
So that was kind of like the one thing. But then I was like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. I've come to a point in my life where I'm like, if you want to follow me, you want to follow me. My whole goal with what I'm doing is that I'm trying to teach people with like the mistakes I've made with, let's say, brands, or how could they get started in, marketing online, because realistically today, it's not like back in the day. Today you need to have a strong website. You need to have good content. If you really want to make a difference with your brand online, like you gotta really do
for
these
sure.
things. So I'm just trying to share what I've learned throughout the years with all the brands I've worked with. And I said, you know what, got to go hard. So I bought a camera. Johnny and I actually bought a camera, and I've just been filming like crazy.
And who does your edit? Because your edits are good.
I actually have a guy named, I have a couple of video editors, but some people like, I believe he's like in, like, I don't even know where he's from to be. He's like from,
But it's from Fiverr or whatever, no?
Yeah, he's from Fiverr. Yeah.
He does a good job. Your edits
Yeah,
are good.
thank you, bro. Thank you.
Those are edits that you watch and like, oh shit. That's why
Yeah,
when you
they're
came out
nice.
with your video, I was like, oh, whoa, he's going in at it.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was like, you know what? If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this like not half-assed. Like, let's still do it. I'm still trying to find my tempo. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I look at your videos, I'm like, wow, man, like this guy, he's like comfortable, he's smooth. Sometimes I still look at myself. I don't know if it's just like because this was something that Michael and I were talking about the other day. Like even when I still look at myself today in the videos, I'm kind of like a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
can't
cringe.
listen to myself, to be quite honest. I need to get used to it. I agree with you 100%.
Oh yeah.
Like, are you like that? Like, does it like, or you just kind of like, oh yeah, shit.
I actually remember one of the first video I ever made with a friend was super cringe. And that was the only cringe video I remember I did in my life. I was like, ain't no way I can make a cringe video. And my problem was when I take a phone and I'm talking to the phone like that, I'm super used to it. I have no problem with that. I'm talking and I'm just like, oh, this is good. But then when he was filming the camera like this one, not the same type of Steve,
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? How can I realize that the same energy I give to a phone like that is the same energy I need to give to a camera It took me a day to realize that, and from there I never looked back.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And what do you say to people that are like maybe starting out and then they're trying to get in front of the camera and they're thinking like people are maybe talking bad about me, people are thinking negatively about me, when you know it probably is going to take them a couple of years of continuously doing it for them to get more confident and get really good at what they're doing? What would you say to help that person stay on track?
I think to keep doing videos, that's for sure. Doing stories, I feel, is the best practice for anyone. For you, did you practice to make stories before or not even?
So for me, honestly, I've been filming video pitches for like a very long time.
Actually, wait. I received one of his video pitches for one of my clients. I was like, yo, this guy's so crazy.
Yeah, what's happening with that, by the way?
Oh, they're crazy, bro.
They're crazy. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
But that was funny because I refer you, but all I see is I open a DM for my client and all I see is him with a video pitch. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's good with this video.
Yo,
pitches.
It's good, man.
Even he's like, I'm going to stay up all night tonight. I have to finish my video pitches.
I feel like, is it working well?
Yo, man, it's the juice in the sauce, man.
I feel like I'm going to do that to reach out to brands. Fuck it.
100%. One of the biggest, like for that specifically, reaching out to brands, like it's just personalized. So prior to that, like now I filmed them, but I've kind of boiled them down to like a minute and 30 seconds. Like it's the same shit over and over again.
No, but it's good, bro.
Yeah.
You should actually make an episode just to talk about video pitches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
The more I think about it, the more I should do it.
I can't take credit for that. That's for Mr. The person that, I don't know if he's the one, Mr. Jeremy Haynes. He's the person that I learned it from. So I have to give credit where credit's due. And he's been doing it for a long time, man. But I remember what I used to do is actually, I used to do like, I did like a demo video pitch where it was like, I always say the same thing, but I was paying a video editor in Armenia who was just putting their website back so it looked like it was customized. And man, we were saying about 25 a day. Now the problem was I had figured out was just that people were watching them. They just didn't like, they didn't
feel personalized enough.
It didn't, even though I had their website. Then I remember I was like, you know what, screw it. One day I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the basic roots, what got us like the majority of our clients. And I started saying the name. What a difference, man. Just saying like imagine I did to you, like, hey, what's going on, Steve? You probably have no idea who I am. Like just saying Steve, they're like, right, that was a huge, instead of like, hey, what's going on? It's like, is this guy sending it to me? Like, you know what I mean? So that was a huge, now I film about 20 a day.
And what was his success rate for that?
It's tough, man. I can go some weeks with like a couple of answers. And then I could go like one day I'll film like 20 and I'll get like 5 bookings the next day,
good,
bro.
Man. You do that too?
I don't do video pitches, to be quite honest.
You do pitches?
For me, it's a bit different. Like, because the way we approach people is we approach them as buyers. So we're not selling them something. So it's a lot different. For example, it's like if you have a car, right? You drove here, I guess.
I took an Uber today, but yeah.
Okay, but
my
let's say
took the car.
Anyways, like so, let's say
let's have a car.
Yeah, your car, and then I call you up and I'm like, hey, Steve, I wanna place an offer on your car. Would you sell it? You might be like, oh, it's not for sale, whatever. And I'd be like, well, look, I'm willing to pay above market. Would you be open to hearing an offer? Most likely, you'd be like, you know what? Everything's for sale at a certain price. I'm open to hearing an offer.
For sure.
Versus if I called you and I said, hey, Steve, want to sell your car? You'd be like, oh, I'm not selling my car. Oh, well, if you just come see us in our thing, we'll give you a free quote and we'll help you sell your car. And you'd be like, look, I'm not selling my car. Thank you very much. Take care. It's a lot different dynamic.
Yeah.
So for us, we have a lot of success speaking directly to our clients right off the bat, and they'll answer our calls and stuff, and they'll answer our emails just because we're not selling them anything. So it's a huge shift of dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of success with that.
No, fuck, that's good. But yeah, so to come back like to tips, I would say, you start with your phone, talk to your phone camera. Just do it. And just, I know people don't want to watch themselves, but it's like any sports or any skills. The more you do it, the more you're going to be better at it.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I'm working on too, is like with this, I one thing I regret is not doing enough content.
Yeah.
But now with this podcast, like it's just long form communication. It's a lot easier for me than like short bursts. Yeah. So I would say also to people is like find a medium of communication that you're comfortable with,
Exactly.
Like you really like talking to the phone, and so you had a lot of success with that. Yeah,
that's what I start with. Now I bring camera in front of me or talking to podcasts. I don't feel any problems with it, but you're right. The more you talk, the more people can feel familiar with you is good. And I feel like even with your podcast, I don't know if your strategy is to put it on TikTok, but I do 100%. Feel like I feel like
bro. everywhere.
Like there's a podcast I produced with my friend for those two girls. They did television, whatever. But
who are they? If you want to shout them out, no problem.
Entre Mère et Fille, Sonia and Audrey. It's like a girl and her mom. They're doing a podcast together. We produced the first season, and they both did the reality TV show in Quebec.
Oh wow!
But these two, they talk about anything together, like threesome, sex, abortion. Like it's like, would you talk to that to your mom? I would never. Not even my dad.
Yeah, I wouldn't probably talk to my mom. But
we filmed the episodes. Every episode have a trailer, and they put it on TikTok. And this is the reason why the podcast is working well, is because the TikTok.
It's blowing up, on
blowing
TikTok?
Up, bro. Because I post the videos for them on their YouTube. That's a package that we do. Like, we'll film the videos, we edit them, we do the thumbnail, the trailer, and we post it on Spotify and YouTube. The whole package, bro.
Yeah.
And for them, I look at the stats, I'm just like, oh, that's crazy. And I look where the traffic comes from, TikTok.
Nice.
Yeah, so I feel like your podcast on TikTok, crazy.
Oh, 100%. It's in the plans.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like on that topic, what do you do with podcasts? So if I understand correctly, you don't have your own podcast specifically, but you'll help other people launch their podcast.
Exactly. I've been thinking about making my own podcast for so long. It's just, I know for a fact that the day I have to do it, I have to be sure that it's the right subject and the right the frequency of podcasts. Mm-hmm. But so for now, I produce podcasts for people. I think I've produced over like 15 podcasts in the past 2-3 years.
Oh, wow.
Photos, videos or just audio. But so far, just producing podcasts and learning from them, because I learned the strategies such as the TikTok one. That's something I didn't do for the first podcast I produced, but I learned from that. So that's how I do for now. But my goal will be maybe next year to have my own podcast.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah, I can see you doing like some type of like interviewing chefs.
Imagine,
like what's like, like a cook-off show, or like what's their recipe. I see you with that, man. You've been in the game for a long time, especially like I remember. I don't know if, well, you obviously remember, but like back in the day when we would actually like hire Steve to come and like do like like we would work together, like do collabs. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that time. Yeah,
I think we did it for a couple of brands.
Yeah, it brings familiar. We used to work a lot together.
Yeah,
but we something I gotta say is like, I saw your growth from the beginning. I'm just like, yo, you guys are fucking killing it.
I appreciate it, bro.
I feel like you guys were really focused on one thing. I could say sales and marketing. And you guys just went on it and on it and on it. Or ads, actually. More ads than marketing, I would say.
Now it is.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a little bit more content creation like yourself.
And I did a shoot for the restaurant. It was a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do all restaurants, man. We used to do all franchises. All franchises. We used to do like same thing, social media management. But we kind of hated doing that.
It's not the best thing to do. It's good to make money.
Yeah.
People pay you like 2, 3, 4 G's a month.
Yeah.
But then you're like, yo, fuck, man. They're messaging me. They don't like this. They don't like that. I hate it, man. And then you realize, I can make the same amount of money with content creation, and it's a one-time deal, and I don't hear from you again, or we see you next month. Oh, that's crazy.
100%. And now, what would you say? Obviously, you've been working a long time in the influencer game. You know what I mean? You've like, for people that don't know, like, you've worked with some big influencers as well, with some of the past projects that you've done. From what I know, someone starting out that is kind of like, well, I'm scared that it's going to be just the same content. I'm scared that, people are not going to like my stuff. If you had to redo it all tomorrow, like, no one knows you, but you have the knowledge that you've accumulated after all these years, where do you start tomorrow?
I like that question, because sometimes when I do podcasts, they're like, Steve, what are the tips for a new person that wants to be an influencer? And I'd be like, you know what? Stay authentic, stay true to the game. But if it was me, I don't even think that's what I would be doing. I mean, I would stay authentic, but I feel like if I would start, the first thing is I wouldn't even think about being an influencer. I would just do something that I love and just focus on that, and then get the collabs maybe after a while. But just at first, you have to spend money. Let's say, right now I'm in the food, so it's too easy to talk about food, but let's say it would be sports. Let's say I want to be a sports influencer. So my first thing will be just like, I want to try different sports. Have fun with the sports. Just learn so much about it that people can be like, yeah, this guy knows his stuff. And then I will reach out for the collabs. Even though I don't have that much followers. Free collabs. Because at the end of the day, don't expect to get paid if you have nothing to prove that you're good at it. You build like portfolios, and then you go for the big bucks. Because I realize what's helping me more right now, making that amount of money that I make, versus other influencers with like 10 times more followers than me, but they don't make that much money, is I have a portfolio to back it up, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes in the past, my goal was to actually represent influencers. And I would actually pitch them to the clients that I have, because I was like, yo, they have 10 times more influencers than me. So if I can pitch them, even my cut would be more than what I make. The companies didn't care about them because I have no portfolio to back it up. Whereas for me, with the amount of followers I have so much. So that's what I would focus on.
Plus, you have high engagement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, engagement is very good. Maybe like 6-7%, which is good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, most influencers like 2%.
Yeah,
you know?
even less, I think.
Yeah. But story time, we talk about story time. Story time helped me gain, I think my followers are like 85% from Montreal.
Nice.
You know, so it's really helping. And the brands, they actually have tools that give them demographics of influencers.
Yeah.
So like they send me those data.
Reports, yeah.
And I look, I'm like, oh shit, that's good. They see like, oh yeah, Steve, 90% is from Canada. They rather work with me with 90% from Canada than somebody with 100,000 of followers with only like 20% from Montreal, you know?
Yeah. So I think what you're saying though about somebody just starting off is that focus on getting really good at what you do.
Exactly.
No matter what you're doing, focus on getting really good at what you do first, not necessarily making money. And once that happens, the money comes. I guess.
Exactly. Or get focused, learn about it, and then try to reach out for the collaboration. And then the money will come. Because the first collaboration, let's be honest, you don't make money.
Yeah.
Right? But for me, I realized like collaboration started with the first one were free. Hey, Steve, come to this restaurant. We'll give you free food. Oh, yeah, I'll take it. And then it's like, okay, Steve, come to this place. We'll pay you for a post. Okay, that's good. And then this will repeat. But last year, I realized like, oh, shit, there's actually yearly collaborations, right? Last year, I had 3 yearly collaboration. I did a yearly collaboration with MasterCard, McDonald's, and courtside.
Wow.
So I'm like, yo, what's next? A 10-year collaboration deal? That's what I'm looking for, you know?
Yeah, that's insane.
And would you recommend, let's say, you know, because this is a big thing that I'm always like, is it a balance? Do you see that there's a balance between, let's say, you know, because there's 2 different games of content creation.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's photography, and then there's like Instagram Reels, there's video. What do you think would help someone advance, like myself too? You know, I'm just starting out. You know, is it better to kind of switch it up, or is it just like focus on video content to kind of just push it? Because I know for us, you know, with all the brands that we work with, video content, good video content always crushes it every day.
Yeah, video.
Video
huh?
for sure.
Yeah, just stick to videos.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just people want to see you videos, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
You do videos too?
Yeah, well, this is going to be the content I start posting.
that's
it's all
dope.
video, yeah.
Yeah, videos, bro.
100%.
Photos are nice, but videos is better, man.
So let's say somebody's starting out now. Okay, so they understand, they're learning, they're getting started, and they want to be a content creator, for example. What should their budget be for equipment, or do they even need to invest in equipment? Like, what would you say is like the little hacks of like, get these 3 things, you're good.
That's it, bro.
Just the phone.
It's crazy how you can do so much with a phone. Film with your phone, edit with your phone. That's it. Honestly, even me, like right now, the latest content I've been producing is my phone.
Nice.
The only reason I use my computer is because I love doing subtitles better with my computer than my phone. But other than that, all the content I've been producing lately is with my phone.
That's nuts.
For myself. For clients, is different type of budget. Podcast. You're not going to film a podcast with a phone.
Yeah.
I'm going to find like the little vlogs on TikTok.
But you find that works better? Like, just because honestly, I've tested it, and I've actually had like, there's this client, funny enough, in particular, we has a bunch, like, big company, man. Like, they got very successful, and they have a lot of video content, like professionally done, professionally made.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, man, the content that there's a one video in particular that I believe it's like his girlfriend or someone that he knows filmed that video. That video, it's gonna be 9 months that I'm still running it. And it is the simplest 9-second video just off an iPhone, not even the highest quality. That video has brought in like 6 figures and up.
That's crazy.
Just like that. And that's what I'm thinking,
crazy,
like,
yeah.
Is it kind of like the same thing? Like, obviously, you know, you got to have good lighting, natural, but do you find like, you know, because again, you know, you've been in the game longer, like professional video or let's say iPhone video, have you seen like a difference? Like, oh shit, you know, I'm doing all this studio content, but at the end of the day, like, I see that people are just engaging more. My everything's going a little bit more viral with what I'm posting on my with my iPhone that I'm creating.
Well, it depends. Like, do you feel sometimes you go on Instagram or on TikTok and you connect more with a video that looks like it's from somebody like FaceTiming you.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to like, don't get me wrong, I love those HD type of videos, but you look at them and sometimes the quality of the video is what you focus on and you don't even think about what's being said.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that there's nothing wrong to use a camera, but in terms of efficiency, like time for me, my phone is better because let's be honest, okay? We'll give you an example. I'm making these videos, the globe with my girlfriend. I'm with my girlfriend. We're going to the restaurant. We're eating, boom, whatever. With my phone, it's simple. I take my phone, talk, go to the restaurant, film, get home, edit on my phone. Done. I bring my camera, bro. Take my camera. Okay, let me see if it's working well. Everything is manual. I go to the restaurant. Oh, shit, the lighting is not good. The phone is so good with no lighting too, you know? The lighting is not good. Okay, babe, film me with a camera. Let me see. Let me take a look at it. Shit, the focus, well, manual focus or actually, it's not good. Your autofocus is not good. Then I get home, take the SD card, put it on my computer, import the files on my computer, edit the file. Bro, even me, I'm telling you that I'm tired of saying it, you know? Whereas when you film with your phone, everything's so fast.
Yeah.
You know? So I think for now, the goal is always like, do whatever it takes for you to create good content fast, at least, or like easy. And then for different project, take the camera, like story time is better with a camera. You see the quality. Story time is something different.
Yeah,
crazy.
We're in the studio. But anything that's like lifestyle, live, the phone is good, man.
That's crazy. And what would you say how did Storytime really come to be? Because it's a great concept. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when it dropped, I believe it was last year.
Last year was the third season. The third
Last
season
year
was
was
the
the
one that
third
break
season.
that went the best.
Okay.
So when did you start? 3 years ago?
Storytime was maybe 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So the way Storytime started was 4 or 5 years ago. I had a collaboration with Participation. I don't know if you know them.
No.
It's like a government company where they want to tell people to make more like sports and movement, right? So I had my boy Pavel to film me, and it was a good shoot. It's like I had to make like video capsule for their app. One of them was me playing curling, me boxing. I forgot what was the third one, but I remember there was one where I had to talk about like the benefits of cooking at home. And when we did that video, we're in my basement and there was a brick wall. And I was talking, I was like, yo, I feel like the lighting is there. We could just do it like a little series where we just tell stories. So the first season was me telling stories. It did good. Second season was me telling stories. And then I had my roommate, my good friend, and Kosi. So it was good because he was my roommate. So he was already there telling stories. Now that was really good. That got better. And then the year of the COVID, the pandemic, I had a studio. I had to deal with this guy. He gave me a studio for 3 months in exchange of content. So I look at it. We put some newspaper on the wall because we just need to make a set that was easy to do. And I was like, yo, I feel like this could be good for story time. So I just started reaching out to like other influencers I know, other public figures that I know to tell stories. And then we ended up doing like 60 videos in a month. And because it was the pandemic, there was nothing else to do. I edited those 60 videos in a month.
Wow.
And I was posting like 6 a week, bro. I didn't care about the algorithm. I would post 3 videos at 11 p.m. at night on Tuesday, Wednesday, and 1 on Friday.
Nice.
And it just picked up like crazy. Like on TikTok, it went crazy. Instagram went crazy.
And why 11 p.m. at night? Because I always thought like, it'd be either early morning or let's say like, 7 p.m.
Yeah, for me, I have a vision very different from social media. My clients hate it, but that's the way I think is. I feel like people go on social media the time that you don't think about it. So people be like, yeah, it's good to post in the morning, right? But in the morning, you go to work, man. Like you eat,
Yeah,
you
I
do
know.
your
I
shit.
never understood that.
So nobody goes on social media in the morning. Then people are like, yo, you have to post like rush hour time, 5, 6 when they're in traffic. You're in traffic, you're driving, you're not on
you're
social
not looking
media.
at I don't
You're
get it.
talking to your friend, but at 11 p.m., you're in your bed. What is there to do, bro? You're in your bed, you're scrolling TikTok. Oh, okay. Now you see this, you're like, oh. So that's why Storytime was good. And funny enough, even my food show, I posted it on a Saturday night at like 11. Woke up in the morning and got like 90,000 views the first night. And it was because people will see it at night. People will see it after the club. And people that wake up early will see it in the morning, because in the morning when you wake up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, there's nothing else to do than be on your phone. So that's why I love posting content at night.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you learn that?
I don't know. I just do it. I don't know.
It's amazing content, though, man. Like, it's honestly beautiful. Just so people know, it's Storytime avec Steve.
Yeah, it's called Storytime avec Steve. People can see it on YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah, I
it's pretty
checked it
much
out.
on all social media platform. And And to come back also to what we said before about the language, I had a YouTube channel, okay, for 3 years, posting vlogs, travel vlogs, going to Guatemala, going to Miami, Mexico, like showcasing like cool stuff. I'm pretty sure there's a vlog with you at this point. And my vlog, my subscribers never went over 1,000. I was never able to get the watch time. And then when I did story time, I just scrapped all those videos in archive and I started posting story time. And within a month, I went to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube and I reached the 2,000 watch hours within a month. And all the content was in French, which was crazy, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. It's funny when the market wants something, like you find out quick.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see.
And for you, that's what's good for you guys with the podcast is the content you're doing right now is good for all the platforms. You guys could be good on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, already for the audio. Then on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for the videos.
Exactly.
And Rumble,
we're
baby.
everywhere.
What's that?
Rumble is like the new YouTube. Man. It's like the
shit. I never tried.
Yeah. So I've been
posting.
posting.
The bottle.
Yeah. I've been posting. I've been posting everywhere, man.
What's Rumble?
Rumble's like kind of like it's the new platform, kind of like YouTube, where everyone that gets canceled.
It is YouTube. It's a YouTube competitor, but they're trying not to cancel. Like they're trying to.
They're taking Andrew Tate is on Rumble.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew Tate, like Steve will do it.
Steve will do it. Yeah.
Steve will do it. Still making content.
I
haven't seen this guy forever.
Bro.
I love Steve. Honestly, I love Nelk.
Me too,
bro.
They're fucking killing it.
Yeah, Nelk. You know, funny enough, I know the mom. I met her. Johnny and I had met her down in Toronto.
For real?
For real, bro. I think this is the first time I'll say it here, but back in the day, I won't say the mom's name or anything. Like I won't say who it is, this, that. But
which mom?
I'm not gonna say it. But long story short, there's a gentleman we know down there when we used to go down for the franchise show, and this guy, we just got along so well. He's like, dude, he had sauce. Like Johnny and I were going to every single booth, hustling these franchises. Like, bro, we're trying to go to Shakor, we're trying to go to all these, like Giving Art, this, that. They're like, get away, you know, because they're here to sell franchises and we're here to sell our services to them. And they're like, we don't, whatever. Some of us would just give us the business cards. But there was one table where we had met these two guys and they were like, yo, you got to meet, like, they just loved us. You know, the second day, like, you got to meet this girl. Her son's popping off. John and I, you know,
I already
like,
know which mom you're talking about.
young.
There's like two moms.
Yeah, no, but we were young. You know,
it doesn't matter if you say whose mom it was.
It's Kyle's mom.
It's
okay.
Kyle's
it's
mom.
Kyle's mom.
Yeah, that's I knew right away. Okay,
you know his mom too?
No, I don't know his mom because it makes sense because it was Johnny or Kyle. That's the name, not Johnny. What's the name of the other guy?
The other one was
he left it. He started
he
Sunday.
left his Sunday, yeah.
But it's not his mom because he was all with his dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the mom was.
No,
but probably Kyle. Kyle looks like a mama's boy.
No, Kyle. So no, but honestly, dude, his mom Gail, she's absolute sweetheart.
Yeah,
like, and she was like telling us, she's like, oh, our sons are popping off. But
he's doing good, man.
I wouldn't even really know the Nelk boys back in the day. So she's like, yeah, my son's got like 1 million subscribers. I remember John, we're like, bro, 1 million subscribers. Like, okay. And then she's like, yeah, Nelk boys, and it just didn't click. And then we were driving back home. We're like, holy shit, like. Her son's killing it.
No, Cal is fucking killing it.
They've been killing it.
I love their content.
Oh, me too.
They're fucking good.
And Mr. Beast, recently I've been like...
Oh, yeah, Mr.
Beast is something else.
But his old blinding videos is crazy.
Like making 1,000 people blind see. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. And can you believe that he gets haters on those type of posts?
It doesn't make sense.
You could never appeal to everybody. No. You just can't.
His life looks stressful, though.
Yeah, for sure. They burn through a lot of cash for those videos too.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like
a lot.
Like he has a lot of money.
He does, but he spends a lot of money on the videos. That's what he was saying. But he still, don't get me wrong, he still has a lot of money.
He's making a lot of money out of it.
Yeah.
And actually, I was watching an interview with Mr. Beast where he said like YouTube is the best way to create billionaires.
Wow.
What the fuck? Not millionaires. We're talking about billionaires.
Yeah.
And he was even explaining like they're undervaluing the value of the brand that these people build on YouTube, because they then launch other brands like Mr. Beast Burgers or like Prime or Nelk Boys' Happy Dad, all these things. So they get to launch these insane brands because of the audience they've built. And think about it, these guys, their demographic is young kids, right? All of them. We all grow up with them. It's like Disney Channel stars. They all have the most followers. Why? Because we knew them since we're like 10, 8, 7 years old, and we followed them forever. We'll be their fans for life. So those guys are just, it's insane.
And something I respect about those guys a lot is they find ways to actually keep their audience older. Because let's be honest, a lot of those YouTube stars, their audience are kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say the Logan Paul, like Jake Paul. Like, they do meetups. It's kids, bro, coming in.
Yeah.
But then you look at guys like Nelk, where they actually like put up a beer.
Yeah.
So you have to be at least 18 years old to drink the beer legally. And you see the audience is like all older crowd, and
or
it makes
21
sense.
in the States. But yeah.
I was telling that to my friend. I was like, personally, I will hate to be a YouTube superstar and like my fans are like 12 years old.
Yeah.
I'd be mad.
You got to be super careful about
Like,
what you say.
Yeah, I'd be mad. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, bro. And you know what? To bring it back to like Mr. Beast on how we got on this topic, one thing that I did watch with him, and I remember telling this to Michael, remember this about the language, which is so interesting that you say about the French is the thing that
so genius what he does.
Yeah, he has like super multiple language, right?
Yeah,
For his
basically
channel.
he has separate channels, like you said. He separates his channels, and he has like a Mr. Beast, Spain, Mr. Beast, whatever, all these different
He's
languages.
killing it.
And he just gets a translator, but he gets a famous person.
You got like
let's say he
Spider-Man.
gets the person that that does the Spider-Man voice in
Brazil.
Spain.
Yeah.
He'll get that guy to be the voiceover for his Spanish content, and then it blows up in Spain. He's killing it. And what he was saying was like the majority of the population doesn't speak English.
That's true.
So
you see how crazy that is?
I know.
And actually, when you think about that, randomly during the pandemic, I remember I used to check out like workout videos, and I ended up on like the Russian YouTube, and that made me realize we only have access
to our YouTube,
to our
to English.
YouTube.
Yeah.
There's like a fucking Russian YouTube where like everything's in Russian, and you never see them on your algorithm.
Never.
But it exists, or even Spanish. Or even Arabic, you know, but we don't see it at all. So Mr. Beast did something good, man.
Oh yeah, he's
He
changing
studied the game, bro. He studied the game.
Because you never see his Spanish videos.
Never.
But they probably have more views than his English videos.
He said they have, I don't know more, but they have a lot of views.
Yeah.
It's insane what he did. Yeah,
No,
he's
that's
a
crazy.
genius. Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense, bro. So, you know, moving forward, do you feel like, given this, right? Because I'm a big like data guy. Like I'm like, okay, what works? If this is working well for you, you know, you're saying, I prefer doing content in English, but my fucking videos in French are just crushing it. Would you say like, you know what, let me just see how big I can bring in French and kind of bring it like that? Or are you kind of like sticking to, I just don't enjoy it? Because, you know, sometimes it's about obviously optimizing on like, okay, this makes a lot of sense for me to do this, but I just don't enjoy it. So like, you know, is it worth it? But for you in this case,
for me, in my case, I mean, I'm a big data guy, like data guy like you. I love data, and that's what you need if you want to be better at anything you do. You look at data. Like every day, I look at my numbers. Like, okay, the engagement rate for this one is doing better, so I guess this video will do better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But at this point, I had to love making content in French. Mm-hmm. Like at first, for 5 years, I never done content in French. Then I realized, like, because let's be honest, the first 2 seasons of Story Times were in English. And then it never popped off.
Yeah.
The French one popped off. I was like, what the fuck, you know? But then I realized maybe it's my demographic. I'm in Montreal, you know? Maybe if I was in the States, it'd be different. But at this point, let me just go in French. We'll see where this is going to lead me. Maybe later I'll be back in English. But right now, French is doing good. And it's doing better numbers than my English ever did. So I have to accept it. I grew up as a French speaker. Yeah, it works. I can do it. Is it my favorite? I'd rather talk in English. Just because it's so easier for me now. English is a business. I feel like in English, I can reach out even more people. Mm-hmm. But if in French it works, might as well just do it, you know?
But you know what I find so funny about, I love about what you just said is that, because initially you were like, find something you love and then do it a lot and then start from there and then you'll start making money. But what I found from my experience, and I mean, you tell me if you agree or disagree, but what I find from my experience is that you begin to love something when you get good at it. True. So it's kind of funny. So it's like, I could choose, there's certain things in my life where I didn't like until I got good at it. And then I loved it because then I got positive reinforcement. Everyone would tell me, oh, you're so good at this. You're so good at that. They would just like they would make me feel super confident in that subject.
Yeah.
And I find that it's just funny what you said because it's like French work. You didn't necessarily love it, but I bet you let's say you come back on in, let's say, a year. I bet you're going to love it because you'll be 10x where you were from today.
Yeah, I might love it even more.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
For sure.
I agree with you for sure. Or sometimes you like some stuff, but it's not working. So
yeah, exactly. That's the other flip side. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if your industry, but I'm pretty sure in your industry it's happening where a client will be like, yo, Nick, I love this videos. This is the one I want to use for ads. And you're like, yo, no, this video is shit. They're like, no, I love it. And then you put it for a month, 2 months, not much results. You have to accept it one day. Like, yo, it's time to switch.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Maybe that's what I had to do with English. I don't know. Maybe people out there be like, yo, his English sucks. Because you can hear when I talk in English that I'm French, right? But in my mind, nah, I think more in English. I read in English. I consume in English.
Interesting.
Really?
But in French, it's just like, you know what?
But at home, you guys spoke, like, growing up, was it French?
French, all the time French, yeah.
French?
Wow. French. I learned English at like 18 years old in the West Island, yeah.
Yeah.
But from there, I went to English, CJEP, and university. So for me, I just think in English more when it comes to business, to thinking. So that's why I would have never thought I would be making content in French like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, I feel you.
And to bring it back, like, dude, like I said, you know, for us in our age group now, it's like super. I think like you're what? You're 30?
Yeah, man, 33.
33. Shit. So, you know, no, but the reason why I say this is like now we're 24. So for us, everyone our age, it's like the new norm to be like an influencer or like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But for you, bro, I don't know too many like actual like people that saw the vision.
Yeah, you were like a pioneer in the space.
In a pioneer. What did your friends say? Like, were people always like, "Oh man, like this guy, like
a lot of haters, bro.
A lot of haters.
A lot of haters. A lot of people not understanding the vision. A lot of people be like, "Yo, do something that's gonna make me you money." Because now you're 24, right? So right now, if I look at the new generation, if I have to talk like an oldie like that, is that you understand the money that can be made on social media. But in my time, how much money can you make? You have to be a big YouTube star to make money because no brands was really paying influencers, right? So people were hating a bit. They'd be like, yo, Steve, like, get a real job or do that. But for me, I was like I told you in the beginning of the podcast, I used to have a real job. I used to make that money. And I was like, I'm not doing anything for the money right now. I just want to live good, you know? So I was doing it. And slowly, I lost some friends along the vision. I saw a lot of competitor along the vision because one thing that I gotta say is when I started, bloggers were out there. Bloggers were making money. And nobody like other than my friends that were started together, the people that were established there already before me didn't help me. They were too busy doing their things and they were like gatekeepers. There's a lot of gatekeepers in the social media world, right? So for me, I had to learn by myself. I had to get those deals. Actually, I never was able to get deals. So I had to brand myself to get those deals for myself. And I feel like what really helped me is the fact that when I take a look at all the influencers that were doing this job before me and the way I'm doing, I feel like I just went a different route. And it's just, it's good because let's be honest, I don't know any other influencers that work with MasterCard for the year.
Nope.
I just closed Uber. I never saw any influencers work with Uber in Montreal. You know,
McDonald's.
I saw some influencers, but
I never seen.
Yes, but maybe one post, two posts. Funny enough, McDonald's invited me to an event in Toronto because I didn't tell you guys, but I also work as a flight attendant. I started working as a flight attendant for the past year. I needed to travel, you know.
Yeah, nice.
But it's all fun. So I'll be in Toronto, and McDonald's invited me to an event in Toronto. And it was all the influencers. So I talked to them. I'm like, oh, how many call outs you did with McDonald's? They're like, oh, 2, 1, 2. Everybody was 2-1. And at that time, it was before the yearly deal. I was already at 5.
Wow.
I was like, oh, shit. Okay, I'm at a good position now. And I even asked McDonald's when I signed for the year, how many influencers you have for the yearly deal with you guys? And they're like, we only have 2 people in Canada. And I'm like, wow. So my deals as an influencer are totally different than the other one. And I'm just like, I guess I must be doing something right. But the thing is, I'm not the influencer that be like, hey, guys, come spend a day with me. Not much. Yeah. I don't do that much. Or, hey, guys, look at my routine. Or, guys, look at this product that you should buy. I never did influencer promo code. I'm not that guy. I don't want to do promo codes. So I'm just doing things that I love, which is food or traveling. And I guess the brands notice that and they want to work with me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I find all your content adds a lot of value to your viewers. It's not like you're pushing something to sell. Even your ads with Square, let's say, for businesses to use that, like that's super valuable.
Exactly.
Even for me to see the machine, to see how it works, it's valuable content for your users. So I'm sure they understand that.
And it's working super well. And for me, there's like, I would love to tell people more about how to be good on social media, but I feel like right now is not the right time because it might change my brand.
Yeah.
I would like the videos you do, I fucking love them. And I feel like I want to do the same to be like, yo, people, I'm going to tell you how to be an influencer. But I feel like if I do that, I'm going to lose the sauce as a foodie influencer, right?
Yeah.
So for me, this is what hurts the most is like, I want to do this so much. I want to help people so bad. But I feel like if I do it, people be like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that followed you for a long time might not want that other content.
Where's the food? Or I cannot be food and talking about, hey guys, I'm gonna tell you how to make 6 digits as an influencer.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
So I guess this one I'm just gonna keep it for later and just focus on the food for now. You know?
Yeah, you gotta focus on what brought you there. For me, it's really like that style is just because like it builds my credibility. So when people go to my page, they're like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or they just kind of see a face to the name, right? People don't buy because they don't understand or they just don't believe in it. So
and you're not gonna start talking about food.
Yeah,
exactly. If I start talking about food, but that's one of the things I definitely love the most about your content. And I'm telling you, man, we have worked. Well, not myself personally, but I know a lot of the brands that we've worked with. We've done like promo codes. Nada, bro.
Crazy, huh?
Like zero promotion because I feel like it's like we've come to a point where it's like everyone's just like, oh, okay, this person's just doing a brand deal. Whereas, literally, I tell my. I think I actually even filmed a video like the other day. I said, like, listen, if you guys don't have a big marketing budget, like, you know, and you want to kind of like work with like, let's say a nano influencer, it would be much more beneficial for them to get their product out there to say, hey, you know what, I'll pay you $50 and just do a review on my product. A little reel. I don't want you just like unbox and be like, hey, this is what I got. Review. Just an honest review on my product. I don't want no promo code. I don't want you to promote it. I just want you to say my name of my brand and kind of show how it came. That there is like so much more. It's like, oh, well, this person's just doing a review. Like, are they doing review content or are they trying to sell me? But there's no call to action in the selling that's like, I feel like I'm like, okay, shit, now I got to go check out that brand. Whereas like if I see a promo code, I'm like, forget it.
But you know what?
Forget it.
And actually the problem with the promo code is that brand expect to see result right away. They get an influencer with a promo code and right away they expect, oh man, it's not selling, it's not working.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I don't want to do promo code because I don't know, man. If I do a promo code and there's no sales, I'll feel so bad.
Yeah.
You know? But when you talk about a product and people see it, this is like building your credibility. And people be like, let's say for the Square, like, oh yeah, Steve posted about Square. It looks cool. You might not buy it right away, but eventually the day you're gonna be like, yeah, I think I need something. Oh yeah, I remember Steve posted about Square. Let me check out Square.
100%.
Now it's gonna work.
100%.
My studio, we never put money for advertising, but it's booked 5 times a week. What do we do? Influencer collaborations.
Yeah,
every week we have an influencer coming in. We give you 2 hours. You post photos. Just tag us. Don't even tell people they should come. Just tag us in your photos. That's all we need.
Yeah.
And that's all we need to make the business run.
Exactly. And by the way, Steve, he has a company, Archetype
Studio. Yeah.
And you rent studio space. I think that's a super good idea. You rent studio space to people who want to make content. So they just rent the studio for X amount of time, a couple hours to like, I think it was like a full day they could have.
Yeah, they can have 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, and even 12 hours.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing idea.
Yeah. The studio is like an Airbnb and it's working super well.
Yeah.
We've been in magazines now.
Nice.
Next week, TVA is coming to shoot some TV commercials.
Nice.
We had big companies coming to the studio, and sometimes I'm just like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the beauty of the studio too is that people tag us. They love the studio. They tag us. So our best marketing is already done by other people. Like we don't post much on our social media page, but every week I see people posting that they were at the studio. So that's all we need at this point. You know?
Yeah, huge promo. And I wanted to switch subjects. Something I really, even for myself, I'm not the best at, let's say, networking. And let's say I go to an event. I'm not super comfortable speaking with everybody. It's not often that I go to an event and I'm like, these are 10 people I could potentially do business with, or these are 5 people that I think I'll have a long-term relationship with. It's not me, but I know people like you. I could see that in you. I'm sure that you're one of those guys that goes to those.
Yeah, I haven't gone forever, but I love networking events.
Exactly. Yeah. And what I wanted to ask you is, like, for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people could relate, what are some tips for networking that you have for people, or why do you think you've been so successful with networking specifically?
The first thing, I feel like that's something Nick knows, show up. That's the first thing.
That's a good point.
Like, it's pretty rare that you're going to go to an event and not talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're shy, but there's other people that are fucking hungry and they'll come talk to you.
That's true.
You know, like you'll be at an event, this person come talk to you and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Especially your brand. Yo, your brand is fucking big, man. Yeah, like you actually have a big brand. Your business is doing good. So I'm pretty sure, like, even if you're scared to go talk to people, people will approach you and then you tell them what you do. They'll be like, oh shit, this guy's big.
Yeah.
You're a big fish, you know?
Yeah.
So the first thing I could say is definitely to show up, but then do not have the pressure to have 10 people because this is tough. So maybe, try to start with 1 or 2.
Oh, interesting.
Actually, I went to a networking event in Toronto for a Christmas party. I went to a Christmas party in Toronto. And this day made me realize that people in Toronto are fucking hungry and they're good at it. Because I had a chance to bring a +1. So I brought a friend of mine that's a director, producer in Toronto. This guy showed up. He had an iPad with his portfolio on it. And he's just start working the room, bro. He talked to everybody. I was next to him. I was like, yo, I thought I was good at networking, but I didn't feel comfortable that day because I was like, yo, I'm in Toronto. I barely know anyone. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just an influencer that worked with that brand. This other guy knew no one, at his iPad and just start talking to everybody. Wow. And I realized like, yo, at the end of the day, there's nothing to lose because the other person showed up to be talked to. So you just approach them and just be like, hey, yo, what's up? Just talk a bit, small chat. But never put the pressure to talk to 10 people because one person is good enough to help you get to 10 other people later in your life, I would rather just focus on having a nice conversation with someone by the bar, by the food. That's me, by the food, always by the food, and or bring a friend that's maybe less shy. And trust me, you're going to talk to people right away. But do not put the pressure to talk to 10 people because I like that. This is the pressure that you might get.
Yeah, I like that. Make one good connection.
Just one. Just talk to one person at a time. Don't think about the rest because sometimes the other person will introduce you to someone else. So you try to focus on having like a deep, nice conversation with someone and you start slow, If you're able to go to a networking event and go on and be like, yo, I'll talk to one solid person, you feel good about it,
for sure. Yeah.
Rather that and I'm pretty sure sometimes you go to an event, you're like, yo, I talked to a bunch of fugazis, man.
Yeah. Oh, bro, that's all the time. It's not even that. It's just like sometimes you're like, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but you're just like, sometimes it's like, oh, how's it doing, dude? It could not be going better. Like, this is happening. Like, this is booming. Oh, boom, boom, boom. It's like, all right, man. Like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but like, it's like so good to be true. I totally understand. And for that process as well, do you kind of use the same thing, like one connection kind of for like your content creation? Like, let's say when a brand comes to you, or you kind of like, because it can be stressful sometimes, like, hey, man, we want you to do 3 videos. Yeah. Do you kind of do the same thing? Like, you know what? Let me just kind of go with the flow.
Always. And
I
had moments that were stressful. Like even this week was pretty stressful because this week I had to produce content for like 3 brands. But I was in Quebec this weekend creating content for another brand. And then I look at my schedule and I'm just like, oh, shit, I'm fucked. Because there's only 24 hours in a day, Yeah. But I go with the flow. But also just like to close up on what we said is, I don't know if you've ever heard about Web Summit. It's in Portugal. It's like this big conference for tech.
Only in Portugal specifically?
Yes, in Portugal. And I've been there 2 times. Those are days I've networked with over 100 people. And I'll be honest with you, at the end of the day, there was nobody I really had a big connection with. Till this day, I don't think there's anyone from that conference I talked to. And I went twice. So I met over 200 people. Never done business with any of them. Whereas, look at us. We talk at one event, and 6 years later, we're still working together, So that's why one person is all you need. You don't need to focus on the quantity. Yeah. And then for the brand, sometimes it is stressful sometimes. I have to say it is stressful.
Yeah.
But also, like, when it comes to the networking, is there specific events? Like, what's your strategy when it comes to networking? Because I was listening to your story time with Steve, and then you had this one guy that I'm assuming he's a club owner. And he was telling the story about like when Drake came and Rihanna came and all these people.
Yeah. I've seen that one like 7 times.
Yeah, I like that one. It's really
that
good.
That was fucking good.
It's engaged too. I don't even. My French is horrible, and I still was engaged with that video. So that was amazing. But I'm so curious, like, how do you meet all these people? Like, what's your strategy?
Yo, again, showing up. Like, let's say this guy, for example. It's funny because I was talking to him on the phone yesterday because it was so cold, and me and him met at the funniest thing. So back in 2018, I think. There was the All-Star Weekend in Toronto. So I don't know what year it was, but I remember it was the All-Star Weekend in Toronto. My friend calls me, was like, Steve, come to Toronto. We're spending the All-Star Weekend here. I have a hotel room. Show up to Toronto. And this guy from the story time, he shows up to the room too because he's in Toronto. He's like, yo, I have no room to stay. I cannot just like pay and stay in the same room.
And he knew your friend,
He knew my friend as well. So we ended up spending 3 days together. And that weekend was crazy. Like we hung out with Snoop Dogg 3 days in a row. Like we had a good time. And the only reason I met him is because I showed up to Toronto. So that's why I said like showing up is actually the best thing to go to networking event. But then a lot of people I've met through social media is actually funny. Like you can meet some dope people on social media. So never underestimate what you do on social media, and also your personal brand will attract people to you. You know, like my friend Pavel, the guy I opened the studio with, the only reason I met him is because I was doing social media for one of his friends, and his friend was like, yo, you need to meet Steve. He's good at social media. And that's how we met.
Wow.
Right? So if you focus on just, let me build my personal brand, you're going to attract the type of people you want around you. And then if you keep showing up, that's good. Because once you go to a place, you know how to talk. Look, you're fucking hosting a podcast. You know how to talk to people, you know? I will never go in for the kill for the sales. It's just like, yo, hey, what's up? We had this event. What's happening? You know? Oh, but people will always ask what you do. You know, that's I think the first question we'll ask at any event. So what you do? But for you, your business is so solid. You tell them and be like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. I find that so interesting though. That's awesome. Because I find like you go to these, like it changes my perspective on it. I do go to these events and I'm thinking like, I need to make money. I need to get a return.
Yeah, that's it.
From hearing you speak about it, it seems like your approach is more like you get exponential growth over time. So you go to this event and maybe you meet 10 people, and then you go to this event and you meet 20 people, and this event 5 people, and this event 1 person, and over time you build this repertoire of people that you've interacted with that eventually it could be a year after you met them and they see your post on social media and then they reach out and then they connect you with somebody and you do business with them.
Exactly.
It's just like building that repertoire of people, not necessarily looking like, oh, I went to this event, I didn't get a return on my investment, this event was shit. So I like that.
Yeah.
It changes my perspective about these events. It's more connecting with as many people as possible, or at least somebody. And over time, maybe that connection blossoms into something, and maybe it doesn't. It is what it is. But
so
over
you don't
time,
have the pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for me, I do value a lot human interaction. I actually have a bachelor in human relations.
Oh, nice.
Right?
For real?
Yeah,
Wow,
a bachelor in
I never knew
human
that.
relations. Yeah. So for me, I used to go to those like BNIs. Have you ever done BNIs? You know what it is?
No, I don't.
It's like it's an older thing. It's like older people thing. It's like a group of people meeting at 7 a.m. once a week, one from different industry, and they talk about how they can help each other. You pay a month, and I did it for like a year. This probably brought me one deal. You know, it's like one insurance person. I was a social media person. The goal of this group is always to make business within the group. And I feel like there was so much pressure with helping people from the group make money that you don't even enjoy it anymore. Whereas when I think about my clients for like social media for the past couple of years, is really like randomly meeting at an event, doing a video for Narcity. Oh, boom, I meet this guy. It's like, for example, okay, so at the time I did a video for Narcity for McDonald's. I was a host. The manager from that McDonald's, we kept in touch. I didn't expect much. I don't want to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
This guy ended up opening a club, and who he calls for his social media? Me. That's 4 years later, but we just kept in touch, you know? So there's a lot of people in my life, like I meet today, you know, we just stay in touch, and then you don't never know in 3-4 years they're gonna call you for something.
100%. And one thing I would have to say too is that you've always been just like a respectful, like always been feel welcome. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a lot of people that I've met are kind of like they give off that attitude, like, oh, I don't want to meet this person.
Yeah,
but
like
you,
arrogance.
Yeah, a little bit arrogance, you know. And like every time I met Steve, it's like always a smile, always good energy. It's always a good time. It's like I don't think I've like ever seen you like mad. Like
I really get mad, but I do feel like I'm just like I give back the energy I get. Like you too, like you always chill, you know. We always had good times, you know. We never like really stressful, you know.
100%.
So I feel like if you always keep that spirit too, you know, you're good. Because sometimes people can sense if you're trying to sell them something.
100%.
That's for sure. And you never tried to sell me anything. I don't think I ever tried to sell you something. It was just like, yo, if you need content for your client.
I never really try to sell people on anything,
that's
to be
it.
completely honest with you. I don't even like, I don't know, like, which is weird because like if people even ask me like, what do you do? I say like, I work in marketing, man. Like my girlfriend's always like, why don't you tell people you own a business? I'm just like, honestly, I would say it goes back to like when, you know, when COVID had hit and I lost everything and like,
For
I
real?
remember, yeah.
Tell
I didn't know
that
that.
story. Tell that
Yeah,
story.
I
didn't know
It's a
that.
crazy story.
So what happened
that.
was, dude, we were doing the same thing, social media marketing, like content creation. And I remember like COVID had hit, bang, deal lost.
For
But
real?
why? You were dealing with primarily
I was
restaurant
dealing with all
businesses.
restaurants and it was just shutting down. This was like what, 2020, beginning
For
of 2020.
real?
Yeah, man. And
Okay,
every
that's crazy.
single client. And then there was this one big client, dude. This was like, it was a 6-figure contract. We had a deal signed. Bang. Like everyone had
Is it
just
what I think it is?
no, probably not.
What's the first letter?
It starts with an M.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it starts with an M. Big franchise here, probably in Quebec, mostly Quebec. But I just lost that one, and I remember sitting. I remember reading the email, like not even like this, that, and John and I had lost like probably like every single deal like leading up to that day, and that was like our bread and butter. We're like, yo, if we lose this, like,
yeah, it's done.
It's done.
Oh shit! I didn't
so then
know
we
that.
lost that, and then at my dinner. And like my mom looks at me, so she's like, "You finally gonna get a real job?" And I was just like,
oh, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad,
bro.
And I remember you dealing with this, and you called me one day. He calls me one day, like in the middle of COVID, and at this time I had a job in another place. I was learning real estate from somebody in the industry.
Yeah.
And I remember he calls me, so I take the call and I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I'm just really down right now." And I was like, "Why? What's up?" And I remember you telling me, you're like, we literally lost every single one of our clients. You're like, they're all shut down because of COVID. This is insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because you literally pivoted completely from that moment. And it ended up being so beneficial to you. And that's what I always tell people is like, the worst things, you can't change it. They're horrible. It happens to you. It's done. How you respond to that, I like to convince myself that situation was essential to me getting to the next level.
Agreed.
And I think that's exactly what happened to you.
It was. I felt horrendous for like, oh, bro, I remember that night. I started waking up. That's how I started waking up early. I went to bed that night. I was like probably at 9 p.m. And I was like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm just going to go for a fucking run. It was like probably like still like, it was like probably like, this was like April. I don't know. I forget what it was. But like it was still cold outside. And I started running like every day, bro. Every day, to the point where I was running like 10 kilometers. I ran a marathon that year, bro. I was just started running, bro. I was like, that or I'm gonna go insane. Yeah, man. But you know what? I pivot on that. But the long story short, in regards to why I don't tell people that, is because I remember going on social media, and at the time it was like when the course game. There wasn't too many people in the course industry.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing everyone that I was following was just doing amazing. Oh, amazing, 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 and I felt horrendous. And I was just like, and I swear to God, I was like, and I remember even unfollowing some people, and I was just jealous. Like, I was just putting my insecurities on them. But I remember saying to myself at that point in time, I said, I never want to have an interaction with someone that they feel horrendous. Like, oh, this guy's doing so much better than me. Like,
that's what you mean.
You know what I mean? So that's why now it's like, I just try to say, like, I try to stay humble, man. I'm trying to stay humble. Like, we don't really like flex or anything like that. Like,
but you used to flex a bit before.
Of course, used to, bro.
But you're very humble now. I do realize you're very humble.
I try. I try my best, bro. Sometimes, it gets the best of me. You know what I mean? I still like to showcase for my brand, showcase where I'm going, and so on and so forth. But like, I don't really like. I don't do like, you know what I mean? But that's just not my vibe.
Yeah,
some people that's their vibe, and I respect it. That can bring you. A lot of people do like that. Like, there's a lot of people out there that they post, the car, and I respect that. If you know what I mean?
That's what's working for you.
If that's working for you, it's just, I know that for me, it's just like, I don't feel, like you said, you got to find your flow.
Yeah.
That's not my flow. Like, I would come off like way too arrogant. Like, it's just, I don't feel good doing it. So for me, it's just like always like, I just always want to keep it straight up. And like, that's why, like, literally, people ask me, like, even at the gym, they're like, what do you do? I was like, I work in marketing.
You don't tell them it's your company.
No, I don't tell them unless they start like, unless if they're starting to push back, like, oh, look at this fucking loser. Like,
but you know what I'll say? I think you should change that personally.
I know I should, because I'm missing out on a lot of business.
I've been really thinking about, especially since I've been starting this, like with the launch of this podcast, I've really been thinking, how do I communicate better with people? Because now I'm having long form conversation. I really started thinking about it. And one thing I changed a lot is, instead of judging somebody when they come speak to me, I just treat them like a human being, and I'm like, I'll just tell them the truth. So if they ask me what I do, I just say the truth, and I say the full truth. And if they want more details, then I give more details. I don't say like, I'm in real estate. Like, I don't try to make them not ask more questions.
Yeah.
I just kind of say the truth. Like, I have my business, I do this.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, at the gym specifically, we go to Monster Gym together every morning. And one guy was like, oh, really? You're doing that? He's like, usually I hate talking to people at the gym and stuff, but now I'm making this change because I want to communicate with more people. And he right away he goes, oh, my family owns a business in transport. do you think you could find me a building?
Yeah.
And then he hits me up. I have a meeting with him. Now I'm trying to find him a building.
That's
and
good,
it's like,
man.
I know. And
that's
it's
good networking right there.
It's good networking. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, that's good though.
But I took your advice without thinking about it, which is I didn't go there to say, if I speak to this guy, we have to do a deal together.
Yeah.
It was more just, if I speak to him, I'll tell him the truth. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And there was 20 other people I've spoken to at the gym that nothing happened. And this guy could potentially be a deal. So I think it's important.
You see, those
people
deals
know.
are crazy.
Yeah, I know. And it takes one good deal to make it all worth it.
One deal can change. Yeah, 80-20 too. You know, the 80-20% rule.
80-20, man. I love that.
It's actually, but it's crazy. I didn't know that for COVID. That's crazy. But COVID did change a lot of people in terms of business. Actually, for me, when I tell you about the switch being a social media guy and a content creator, it happened during COVID too.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it happened during COVID. Fuck that, man.
You have to adapt, bro. You have to adapt. But that's the big thing. It's not like, oh, like if something shit happens, like it's the best. It could be the worst thing for your life, or it could be the best thing. I could have told myself, you know what? Maybe everyone's right. Maybe it's not for me, and I would have given up. I was just like, man, I've just spent I probably like at that time, like
3 years.
3 years of my life. Like not every day, like it really started in 2019. Before that I was in school, kind of messing around. But I was like, in my head, I was like, I've been going at this for 3 years. I said, I can pack this up. First of all, I have like graphic and web design like background. Like I'm not going to get much. So I was like, I could pack it up, or I could just like figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out, bro. But I'm super lucky as well. You know, I have super supportive parents that can also, you know, that helped out and stuff like that. Like in regards to like, you know, I still lived at home at the time. So
yeah.
It was a different.
But you just got your place now too. It looks fucking good on social media.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I finally moved out. Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But to kind of like bring it back, Steve, you know, I kind of want to know one thing. You know, with everything going everywhere, where do you kind of see, because the influencer game has changed.
Totally, yeah.
From where we are today, what do you kind of see like the new trends going, and what do you see like, you know, it's all about adapting, right? So what do you see? I mean, what are some things that you got to change, you know, as more competition and stuff like that?
Right now, I do feel like there's a lot of contracts in, they call it the UGC, user-generated content.
Mm-hmm.
I see it a lot. Do I do it? Not much. I do it sometimes, but I don't like it. But I was doing that during COVID, so I do see the value in it. But for me, I love creating content. So for me, my goal is actually I feel like the goal for people is actually just work on your personal brand. And once your personal brand is figured out, you can expand from that. So the same thing with the YouTuber we're talking about. You see, like, for example, Nelk, and they work on their brand, and then they open the beer. You know, they can adapt. Mr. Beast, work on his brand. He has, like, his chocolate bar, and he has his burger joint. A lot of people I follow, like, for me, like, my role model are mostly in the States, like a Kevin Hart. He worked on himself, built a producing media company. Then he has his own alcohol. He has a restaurant, you know. So for him, I'm like, you know what? Let me just work on my brand. And eventually I'm going to open something else. But so far it's doing good because I've been working on my brand. I opened a studio with my friend and the studio is doing good.
Yeah.
Perfect. What's next, you know? Going back to just working on the brand. So I do feel like if I look at the trend right now, people got to work on their brand for sure. Because a lot of people are fake, man. A lot of people are not being authentic. And you can see it right away when you go on social media. So just that's the first thing. Just focus on your brand. Don't think about the money. Just focus on becoming the right person. And then when you put it on social media, people will understand who you are. And that was a big struggle for me because I do so much. But I decided to, you know what? I'm just going to say I'm a foodie. Fuck it, bro.
Yeah.
People be like, yo, Steve, what do you do? I'm a foodie. That's how I met my girlfriend.
Yeah.
What do you do? Oh, yeah, I'm a foodie. What do you mean you're a foodie? I go to restaurants, you know, like...
Not too bad.
You know?
Yeah.
Because if I start, oh, yeah, I'm an influencer. I own a studio. I do social media marketing. I do photo. I do video. Be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
For me, it's not too much because that's the lifestyle. But I realized that people can only put one title for you. I'm a creative. Before I used to say, oh, yeah, I'm a creative. But then people be like, what do you mean you're creative? And I'd be like, oh, I'm a creator. What do you mean you're a creator? Or content creator. They don't understand. But when I say, oh, yeah, I'm a foodie. Oh, okay, so you love food. Yeah, people relate right away. Oh, I love food. Yeah.
Everybody loves
Yeah,
food.
you know? So, yo, check out my content. And then you look at my content like, oh, shit, this guy's getting deals. But at first, it's just like, yeah. That's what I say now. People ask me, what do you do? Oh, yeah, I'm a foodie. And sometimes I would rather say, oh, yeah, I'm a flight attendant before saying I'm an influencer because people have so much bad, like...
negative
for influencers. Yeah. So
I feel like it's like one of those like, oh, influencer, you know, like I feel like it's got like a bad rap to the name.
Totally,
I could be wrong.
100%.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm an influencer. And people buy followers, they buy likes, and they start posting product as if that, no, man, I don't want to. I'm staying away from that, even though in the past year I made more than 6 digits as an influencer only,
Nice.
But at the point, people be like, oh, you're an influencer, you only have 10,000 on Instagram. You know what? You don't get it. So that's why I just say, yeah, I'm a foodie, man. I'm a foodie. I love food. I get paid to try food. So that's the life.
Nice.
100%. I would say, though, the biggest influencers are like the ones that stay true to the content. They're kind of like critics in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're people that make, in my opinion, the people that I've seen do the best that I follow. Again, I don't know about everyone, but has kind of been like they're giving their own critique and like their feedback on what they're whether it be clothing, if they like the type of clothing, or how it goes. Like there's a lot of like girls now. It's like with styles and like clothing, and they're doing that. And not so much the ones I've seen really do extremely, extremely well. Obviously, the one that are like half nude, you know what I mean? Like that's besides those ones though, like are been the ones that have been like really just giving their feedback, like their honest feedback, no like selling, no nothing. Same thing with like I watch like some of the I forget what this guy's name is, but like he just does reviews and he doesn't sell you, man. He just tries stuff and like gives his honest feedback, like,
and that works because he has a good personal brand too.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more authentic than like. If you look at someone's content, it's just like promo. It's like, well, he's getting paid to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think it comes from people see that you're authentic, or I guess they think that you're authentic when they see that you actually know what you're talking about.
Right.
So you become like, I think what Steve is saying, what you've been saying is like, you're focused so much on becoming a master at your craft that you become undeniable afterwards.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what you do. You're good at what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. That's something
and then
that
people
helped me
will
like
trust
crazy.
you.
Oh, 100%.
I posted about a restaurant, and the next day somebody was like, yeah, Steve, you're right. The restaurant was good. I'm like, what do you mean it's good? It's like, oh, you posted. I went to try the next day. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So, but to come back to something we talked before, when we talk about equipment, and I said the phone, people will say that. You get by a camera, but honestly, you should stay with the phone. But I feel like the biggest craft for content creator, if you make videos, you want to work on, and that's something that only start learning in the past year and a half, is to actually cut down your videos. Like, remove as much as you can to keep the principle. So the best example is the last video I did with my girlfriend. We tried a restaurant. What I filmed was probably like 6 minutes of content. But I was like, I don't want to post more than 3 minutes of content. I cut. I'm at 4 minutes. I'm like, fuck. I still have to cut an extra minute for that content. So that's a skill that I'm still working on it, where what can I cut? What's not? You have to let go some part of the video just because it's like the secondary line,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people attention span so short right now that maybe let's say for example for this podcast, people sometimes will rather listen to 20 short clips of 1 minute than listen to a whole podcast of 20 minutes.
100%.
So I think that's the best skill somebody can work on is what's the most minimum time, like how can I cut a video in a way where people stay engaged?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty behind Mr. Beast. That's the beauty behind Nelk as well. You watch the videos and you're just like, oh shit, what's happening? You still you're still entertained by the video,
Well, they do a good job, in my opinion, like splitting it up, like there's like the 30-second clip. Then they do like a 10-minute clip, and then there's the full thing. So it's kind of like they take clips, and then you're like, oh shit, like you get engaged into it. You're like, where is it in the video? So I think that's also a balance with it, because definitely like long form, massive for YouTube and the algorithm, but you also want to cater to like, some people are not going to watch this whole podcast, bro.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? Like people just don't want to listen. It could be on Spotify, it could be on Apple, it could be in the morning, but you kind of want to have like those 1 minute clips, 3 minute clips, 10-minute clips, and then you can have like the longer clips, but like those clips that kind of bring like different parts of it. So that way it intrigues people to watch the full thing.
Yeah, I think clips are going to be our bread and butter.
For sure. Everyone, even Joe Rogan, bro. I watch a lot of clips than his full podcast. Like I kind of want to know the snippets out of it. Mm-hmm. It's just like you got to let the conversation flow a little bit to have those. It's just not like questioning this, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. And it's funny. Something I've been thinking about is like you mentioned like the hardship that you faced in COVID, and even me too. I faced like a bunch of hardships in COVID, like crazy. I could go on and on about it, but basically, like, for me too, it affected my business drastically. But I'm just curious in general, what are some of like, what if you thought of one, like the hardest thing that you faced in your business, would you be comfortable speaking about that and kind of how you overcame it? I'm just curious.
I don't even know what's the hardest thing, because for me, the most stressful moment in my life has been outside of this business. For example, I think I did a story time back in the days. Was the most stressful moment in my life for me was one time I was in Vegas having the time of my life. I had a place in Montreal, I had renters, and they fucked up the house with the water damage.
Oh shit.
And this for me was coming from a night in Vegas when my energy was so high, getting a call like, yo, Steve, your house is full of water. This for me, I think that almost put me into a burnout. Just because I came back to Montreal, I just came back from Vegas having the time of my life, seeing the place I live was water damage. It was tough. But in my industry as a content creator, thank God I don't feel like it was any big challenge. The biggest challenge was coming from a 6-figure type of job, going to something where I'm the first year I probably didn't make even 30K, you know what I mean? So that was harder for me, but I do understood what was the process. I was like, you know what? I'm going to work hard. And, you know, last year was the first year I made more money than the job before. But I did spend 4 years making less than what I used to make, you know? So that's one. But the hardest thing for me, I don't think there is any. Maybe I remember sometimes I would be super like serious about like my numbers. Like, oh my God, I need to hit those numbers. Why is my followers not growing? I feel like I'm doing great content. But now I'm just like, you know what? I cannot control that. Every day I win followers, every day I lose followers. But what I can focus on is how can I get better engagement? How can I be better at what I do to get better engagement? So that's what I've been doing. But so far, thank God, I don't feel like things are that crazy. I mean, I'm a very like in a steady pace. You know, I'm just going up slowly. I don't understand. I'm going to win clients. I'm going to lose some. Social media,
name of the game, bro. It's the name of the game.
Yeah, social media. You lose a client after 3 months, man. Peace. You know, next.
What it is.
Yeah, man.
You know,
So much.
How did you do it though at the beginning when you went from the 6-figure job, then you leave it? How did you do it with no money?
So at the time I was lucky. I had people paying for the rent. My car was paid.
Okay.
So, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a way to spend less money than make more money. So at the time, actually, I grew up I had a house in this area, and I had 2 deals. I had Le Frier, which is down the street.
Yeah, I love that place.
And Boustan.
Nice.
And those 2 places were like, Steve, if you just give us some photos, we give you free food. So I used to eat breakfast every morning at Le Frier and eat dinner and supper at Boustan for like a year. I didn't buy groceries. I was just eating at those 2 places every day. You know, I got so fat too. But for me, I was just like, I need to be able to understand what I can do. But I realized a lot of money is rent. No rent to pay. Car is paid. Food is paid. So I didn't need money that much to survive.
Nice.
At that point, right? But then that's how I got started to make my business deals. But it didn't make a big difference because it's crazy. I don't know for you, but I remember when I used to work in the company, even though I was making more money, I was still living paycheck to paycheck because I was making more money. So I will spend more money knowing that money will come back after. And then I realized like when I started really like, I could say like the past 2 years has been the best year in my business, you know, incorporating myself because there was more money coming in and I had to make the right decision. I realized like, yo, I'm not even living paycheck by paycheck anymore. I'm just like, money comes in, I use it but I know I have a safe point in my bank account, you know? Like if I could do nothing for 2 months and I'd still be chill, but that's not me. I always got to create content, you know? But I feel like the first thing was just understanding that it's a process. Some people, like that's the hardest thing for people listening to this is sometimes you have a job and you're like, yo, I'm going to quit my job to do my own, but you're too good with the money you make at your job. It's almost impossible for you to quit your job by making exactly the same amount of money you're making in your job.
I agree. 100%.
That's impossible, bro. Even if it's like just 50K, for example. It's impossible for you to make 50K in your job and make another 50K on the side and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to quit my job because you have to take a leap of faith. You might not make 50K the first year, but if you focus on what you do, eventually you'll be able to make even more than your job.
Yeah. And I think there's like way smarter ways of doing it though. I feel like you didn't go through that hardship because you minimized your expenses beforehand.
Exactly.
Whereas like for me, I remember I made mistakes. I tried to start a business, my first businesses, when I had no money. So I'm like trying to spend no money and I have no money. And then when I'm trying to sell people, they could tell I have no money.
Oh, shit.
And it wasn't working. I went through a lot of hardship like that. And then I did the opposite starting this business. Luckily, it worked out. But I started with X amount of savings and I just spent it until, and I was like, I had faith. I'm like, it's going to work out. I'm going to spend all my savings. I went to the last penny of my savings for this business and it ended up working out. But that created such hardship and such stress when I could have just been like, stayed a bit within my means.
Wow.
You know, made sure I was good for maybe 1 or 2 years. So I made a bunch of those mistakes, but it's funny to hear you say these things and say you haven't been through those same hardships. And it makes me realize that I didn't need to experience those hardships, you know? I think that when you're starting a business, you should have a good amount of money set aside and you should have minimal expenses. You shouldn't maintain the same expenses
for sure
and have no money and have no savings. Doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. So but I don't feel like when you start your business, you have that, if you have no money, you feel like a hustler. You're like, yo, I got to get that money by any means necessary. You know?
Bro.
But do you think that's an added value? Do you think that adds value?
I mean, when your back's against the wall, you want to make sure that it's not against the wall. So you're going to push more, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have savings at the time. It's just I had no expense. To be honest with you, I don't even feel like in my life I never really had savings until the last 2 years.
Okay.
My back was always against the wall and just tried to hustle. And the past 2 years, it's been very good to me. But at the time, it was just like, if I have no expense, it's good. And also living that influencer life in a way was helping me securing more deals. So for example, I had this deal with this Mexican company. They used to fly me out to Mexico every month, pay me for a week in Mexico every month. And then people will be like, yo, Steve is going to Mexico every month for a week. He's doing good. And people will want to do business with me knowing that I'll be busy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, you know? So it's really about like, you know what, if your back is against the wall, you'll be able to get more business, but you have to keep your head up. It's like boxing, you know, you have to keep your head up. You're against the rope, just keep your head up and just block yourself and just focus, you know?
And how do you stay happy in the hard times? Like, keep your head up. I like that.
There's like 2 times that I really felt down. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's a podcast I listened to, like MFCEO. I don't know if you know that podcast, the motherfucking CEO podcast.
Is it by Andy Frisella?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm saying is...
No, you are.
Andy Frisella. There's one episode only that I listen. Only one episode on this podcast that I listen every year. And I'll send it to you. And he talks about when your back's against the wall, where everything feels down. You feel like depressed. And I'll send you a podcast. It's actually, that's the only episode I do listen, like at least once a year. Because I remember there was one time I felt so down. I forgot what it was. But it was a day I was supposed to create content for this guy, and I got home, and I remember I slept on the couch. I was almost crying. I was like, yo, man, I'm done with this shit. So, but I don't remember what it was that day, but it wasn't my beginnings. It was maybe like 5 years ago. And then I listened to that podcast, and I was just like, yo, he was saying such like, you know, the times when you feel that it's coming the hardest at you, it's like a test for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you're able to understand that this is a test to break you down, but you're able to come back and just fight it out, that's when you're going to be able to be better at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that day I just clicked. I was like, you know what? The life's trying to get at me, man. I'm standing up and I'm just going to keep going. And I feel like since that day I listened to that podcast, I listen to it like maybe once a year, just because I do feel like the message was so raw. It was good.
I love it, bro.
Oh, 100%.
I love it.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please. Because for me too, like, I mean, we all go through cycles. Sometimes I'm happier. Sometimes I'm not as happy, but you got to find a way to keep pushing forward no matter what happens. And the good times, they don't last forever, and neither do the bad times. So
exactly.
And I'm curious though, do you find, like, regarding like depression and stuff like that, do you find there's ever a point where you can't overcome some of the difficulties that you're going through, or do you think there's always a way to overcome?
I mean, mental health is very serious nowadays. So
for sure, bro.
I mean, if there's anything, there's always resources that can help you. So I do feel sometimes people might feel like impuissant. I don't know what is that in English. Like not enough power to like face their problems. You got to watch out. You know, you have to understand that life is tough sometimes. But I do feel there's always a solution, or just take a step back, reach out to your friends. People will support you.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, you know, I keep saying that the situation, your back's against the wall. You know, when your back's against the wall, you feel like you have nowhere to go. But don't forget, if your back's against the wall, it means you have a wall to support you. You know, so that's like the silver lining behind it. It's like, oh yeah, your back's against the wall, but you're not on the floor. The back is supporting you. So you know what? Just take a look back at the foundation that can support you, and then think about what can be done. Like for you, during COVID, what happened? You know, you're like, oh shit, man, I lost all my clients. But look at you now. Your business is thriving. It's cycle. Like you said, a cycle. You win some, you lose some. In business, there's good days and then there's fucking Great Depression, bro. It happens, you know. Life is a cycle.
That's facts, bro. Amen. It's facts, bro. You just gotta, and ever since that day, bro, I'm telling you, I've never lost, like, I still go to bed, like, dude, like, for me, like, I'll even, like, right after this, like, I'll go home, I'll work, and my girlfriend will be like, why'd you work? Like, I'm like, I feel like I've just never given. I'm so scared to like fucking go back there, bro. I'm like that shit like really like hurt me to the core, man.
Oh yeah.
Like that fuels me to this day. Like, you know, I'm thinking to myself like, man, I never want to be there again. And I'm blessed as well that, you know, I have a super great family, super great friend group that we just push each other every day to be better, and we know what's possible. But I keep that. I'm a person though that gets fueled off that. You know, like I look back at that, I'm like, I don't take that for granted, because I know as fast as you make it,
can go, man.
Quicker it can fall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Even for me, the influencer, I might get canceled tomorrow. You never know, bro.
You never know, bro. Especially with
I get canceled, I lose all my deals. Shit, I'm fucked.
Yeah, dude. AI. We don't know what's happening with all
AI
this.
Too can take over. Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a bunch of shit, man. There's a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So like, it's been a fantastic podcast. The last question I have for you is, if you could leave the audience with three key things that you think would help them the most, what would that be?
ChatGPT for sure. You don't understand how crazy.
Don't be giving that shit away for. I'm just joking.
Google ChatGPT and figure out how to use it.
If no one knows what that is,
point.
If you don't know what ChatGPT is, for me, I feel like it was a game changer. Just to help me for so many things. Just the AI was able to make me better at what I do, such as, for example, I've been procrastinating to make my own website for like a year.
Yeah.
Then it was just before ChatGPT, like a month before, I used like copy.ai, which just helped me better structure my sentences, and I build my website off that, and it makes a big difference. I just feel like it's good just to help you understand so many things. Like sometimes I will just go on the platform and be like, yo, explain me this like I'm 5 years old. And think everything will be there. Or I will write like a big text and be like, can you summarize this for me? Because I use ChatGPT for everything, for my emails, outreach, for my text, sometimes for my scripts, for my ideas, for content creation. I use it a lot. So even like in 2 weeks, I'm actually giving a conferences to talk about how AI can help you create better content. You know, I do feel like this is one thing for sure. So how to use AI into your advantage.
I love that.
Second thing, showing up. Like I told you, that's the best thing.
Yep.
Show up to events. Show up on social media. Just show up so you can meet more people. And the third thing is, I feel like just don't put stress on yourself. Just go with the flow. Like going the flow is good. Just go with the flow. You'll be able to make great things without rushing into too much. And I know it sounds like tacky, but sometimes I see it on social media. They talk about all the great businessmen. They did amazing when they were like 40s and 50 years old, you know? So, you know what, just go with the flow. And one day you're going to see a great opportunity. Just take it, you know?
100%, bro. Well, listen, we appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me. Great podcast.
Great advice. Thank you for coming.
Go follow. I am Steve Daniel.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Steve Daniel.
Yeah, 100%. And last thing but not least, we got to obviously end it with... the contest, you know what I mean? If you guys haven't, like I said, if you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure that you do, as we are giving away a free trip, all inclusive for 2 people to Punta Cana. All you need to do is just subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you haven't done that, make sure that you do it.
100%. Thank you guys very much for coming. We really appreciate it. Take care.
Peace.